Do you wish you knew exactly how to write a sales post to attract soulmate clients using the most powerful gifts from your astrology chart? Well, guess what? Now you can learn how for free. I'm going to share my cosmic copywriting secrets that have helped people to instantly turn strangers on the internet into buyers for their high-ticket offers. In my 5-part training series, Cosmic Attraction Copywriting, you'll learn the mindset switch that takes my clients from feeling confused about their content or not feeling fully safe to share their story online to making sales more easily and naturally than ever before, with the astrological placement that unlocks a new level of depth in your storytelling that builds trust 10 times faster with the clients who are genuinely a very aligned fit to work with you. Plus, the messaging tweaks that take my clients from attracting people who can't afford it to easy sales into 5-figure offers with no sales calls. And you'll get clarity on the 3 things your soulmate clients need to hear from you consistently in your message to feel confident and excited to buy your offer. You'll also get my writing process prompts to share your story in a powerful way that stands out to the right people and leads to ready-to-buy clients popping up into your DMs asking to work with you. Click the link in the description for instant access to Cosmic Attraction Copywriting. This is Sarah Mack and welcome to Creative Magic Club. Together, we'll discover inspirational stories of creative entrepreneurs living out their dreams, doing the work they are most passionate about, and building wealth in magical and fun ways. While building a 6-figure income as a writer and coach, helping other women to launch their dream businesses, I've connected with so many incredible people and seen it proven again and again that you can thrive financially doing whatever it is you are passionate about. I'm here to share life-changing strategies for mindset, making money, and reaching more people with your work in a business and life filled with creativity, freedom, and fun. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Creative Magic Club podcast. I'm so excited to introduce my special guest today. I have with us Alexa Nehter, and she is a fascia-first movement education and bodyworker and the founder of Helix Movement, which is a movement style and also a learning platform. She also mentors other movement and manual practitioners to incorporate fascia into their work, offers, and brands. And Alexa is also a previous client of mine, so I know about her and her work intimately. She's a genius. She's amazing. And it's been such a privilege to witness her entrepreneurial journey and really like trailblazing in her industry. So I'm so excited to introduce you to her story. I know you're going to find so much inspiration, whether you're a body worker or you're fascia curious or you just want to learn from another trailblazing entrepreneur. So hi, Alexa. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello. Thank you for having me. This is very exciting. I feel like you're weaving me more and more into this world. It's so beautiful. And I feel still already very held. It's wonderful.
You know, my clients, friends for life.
It's so nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. So once you're in my world, you're in my world. And
yes.
Yeah, you know, especially like when I get to know your work so intimately, it's like I think about my clients all the time, like past clients. I'm like, oh, I wonder what they're up to and how things are going. And I love, obviously it's amazing that all of them have online brands. So I get to check in and be like, get an update on where everybody is. So before we dive in, can you tell us like, how did you come to doing the work that you do today?
So I work with fascia, with the connective tissue, not with the fascia is also, I think you use for roofing. That's not what I work with. So I work with your myofascial or with your fascial matrix, with your connective tissue matrix and scaffolding in the body, looking at movement and body work from a different lens. So instead of, for example, in training, I don't think of strengthening and stretching. I add way more lenses to it. And I got to this by being a mover from my childhood onwards, riding horses, then studying physical education and biology to become a high school teacher. and ending up in Australia as a high school teacher. And I started yoga teaching in the small community I lived in the north of Western Australia, where there was no yoga teacher. And that got me into the rabbit hole of, not a rabbit hole, I'd start embodying what I really was passionate about. And it was definitely not high school teaching, even though I loved the students. And but the yoga teaching was way more life absorbent for me. It just felt right. And I had my sciencey lens on it. So I wanted to know more about the why behind movements and why does yoga feel, or end up feeling like yourself and becoming more yourself in the practice and being able to regulate or balance your nervous system. And that led me into fascia work, because fascia is I feel, the bridge, the connection between your body and your soul. It's the communicator between your muscles, your bones, your tissues, and your thinking and feeling and sensing. So, yeah, and that got me into teaching yoga, traveling the world, teaching for festivals like Wanderlust, hosting my own yoga retreats. So there was always like a little idealistic, entrepreneurial soul within me growing from something I really loved. And I created my own fascia-based yoga teacher trainings. And that wanted me to learn more and deeper about fascia. And I trained then as a fascial bodyworker with a school called Anatomy Trains. And they headhunted me as their educator, wanting me to teach practitioners using fascial manuotherapy for them, and aligned movement school the same. So I became an educator for them. And and that gave me another lens of how you teach fascia to practitioners. So that's pretty much it. So yeah, that's how I got here. And then teaching and then I became a mother. And I had to stop teaching for these schools and wanted to stop teaching for these schools, having more time for myself. And this is also where I found you and your message of choosing your own timeline, so to say, and being okay with not being everywhere and finding your own rhythm. And that spoke to me very loudly, of having now a baby and not wanting to travel anymore for teaching gigs. And that got me into building then my newer platform, Helix Movement, and creating my own movement style, bringing more than just yoga together. So all the things I learned within the last years about body work and physiotherapy and rehabilitative movement. So that's got me where I am now.
It's so cool, listening when you meet an entrepreneur and you see where they are, and then you hear about the history and all of the different chapters that really contributed to your unique blend of skill sets that, has led you to do the work that you do today. And I know, so many people who listen to this podcast resonate with like being so multi-talented and having so many different skills and knowledge and chapters, and how it can feel sometimes like when we're moving into that next iteration, it can feel like we're just like leaving everything in the past behind us. And so often we don't see how those threads really do continue throughout our story, and they become such, really like foundational pillars of our brand story that give people so much information about us. So I'm really curious to know from you, when did you start to build an online brand? Was that when you were you became a yoga teacher and you started teaching yoga, and then you developed your own method? Is that where you really started building your online presence?
Yes, I did. And this is when I also fell in love with marketing and just fell in love with messaging and marketing and creating a voice. And that has been a lifelong theme for myself. I am a twin. So having my own voice and my own identity was always something I think I fought for and I wanted to express, and always struggled with. I had in my mind, I'm struggling with this, but I didn't really. It's just something I got really passionate about. There were times I was more into learning about marketing and messaging than about yoga at that time, because I thought, wow, you can say who you are. You're allowed to say, I am this, I do this. I didn't know. And coming from Germany, where the tall poppy syndrome, as we say here in Australia, you're not standing out. You rather keep yourself humble and show your certificates you have and your curriculum that is unbroken. So it was freeing, very liberating to find that. But it comes with its own hurdles and learning. And I think this is where personal development and having your own business comes together so beautifully. And when you just said that you, in the moments where you give up one identity of yourself or professional identity, maybe, and move on to the next, this struggling moment where you in this, how's it called when you're like a caterpillar in this gooey,
in the cocoon.
yeah, in the cocoon, and you're like, oh, who am I? And I remember that, and I now remember also how comforted I felt when I was in your mastermind, how you could actually always zoom out and tell me where I am and how it fits into my journey. And it was something I knew, but I couldn't put in words, or I didn't have a concept about. And you helped me with that so much that I even now feel I'm journeying through new iterations, and I still feel comforted by you giving this structure and the idea around this is part of your marketing, this is part of your branding, this is part of your business growth.
Yeah, and
it's powerful.
Everybody needs help with this, like it's really hard to see ourselves. Like no matter how long, like, I've been an entrepreneur for 10 years now. I'm sure you're similar, if not longer. And it's like, yeah, we get better at it and we build these skill sets and we build, these like messaging pillars and content structures and frameworks and like copywriting skills. But the like being able to see ourselves, like that always happens through relationship, whether that's through like knowing how to observe yourself through your client relationships, or, experience yourself through your own brand and through really like self-reflecting, or through work with mentors and peers. Like it's just, we're always so like either hyper-focused on the big vision, or like hyper-focused on what's right in front of us and the problem that we're solving in our business or for our clients. And we always need that support to just like see our big picture, and what can feel like a huge pivot or like a lack of clarity for us can often be made so clear just through a reflection from a conversation with someone else. And I know you've really felt that tension between entrepreneurship and academia, especially with like, you've come up through all of these different worlds, and obviously more recently working within universities. And that's obviously
the schools. They were not universities.
Oh, they weren't universities. Okay.
Yes.
Schools.
No, they're just training schools, training
but still
institutes.
With that very like academic mindset, right? Like
yes,
a real
totally.
like academic rigor, and those like frameworks of like hierarchy of information, of skill sets, of like certifications. And entrepreneurship is obviously completely different. It's like the wild, wild west, right? And I know that like that's something that came up for you a lot in really stepping into owning your own unique way of doing things. And there was this little voice in your head that was like fear of judgment. And we all have it. And, we all project that on someone in our life, whether it's that person we were in high school with, or a parent, or someone in our audience. But and I know a lot of people, who have come from an academic background, there's like a rewiring that has to happen to really give yourself permission to like validate your own story and your own way that you want to do things, and really stake a claim for your method and your like intellectual property. So I would just love to hear you talk a little bit about like what that experience has been like for you. The Cosmic Copy Mastermind is the place to get the support that will bring your dream of becoming a six-figure creative to life in 2025 by selling your high-ticket offers with sales copy driven by stories and guided by astrology. Your goal is to fill your high-ticket offer with dreamy soul clients. But right now, you're wondering what exactly needs to shift in your content to start seeing consistent sales month after month, right? You're posting consistently, and maybe you're even getting great engagement, but you can't quite figure out why people aren't lining up to buy your life-changing offer. You know your work is incredible. Maybe you're even getting a ton of referral clients. But when it comes to putting your unique magic into words that clearly paint the picture of what it's actually like to work with you, it feels complicated. Or maybe you keep getting in your head about your high ticket prices and thinking that that's the problem. Well, let me tell you, it's not your price. You're not alone in this. It's not easy to put your magic into clear copy that converts when you try to do it alone. I've made multiple six figures in my business, and I've written copy for more than 1,000 entrepreneurs, and I continually invest in mentorship around messaging. Why? Because it makes it easier to consistently create content that leads to sales every month. That's why I created this mastermind, where we'll use your astrology chart to remind you of your unique genius, gifts, and personal story, using personalized prompts with my hands-on support and edits to translate all your magic into content that's building your six-figure brand in a way that feels authentic, aligned, and so much fun. This is my magic, helping you to attract deeply compatible clients through authentic storytelling driven by your unique astrology, and doing it in an inspiring community of other creative entrepreneurs making big moves, living life to the full, and building your version of a six-figure dream business. Message me the word mastermind on Instagram at SarahMacMagic for the full details.
Yeah, I'm exactly as you expressed it. It started when I taught yoga first and weaved in more fascia work. And I have a yoga mentor. She's my yoga mom. She's over 80 now. And she's truly, she's been a beacon of light in the Iyengar tradition here in Australia, one of the main founders and bringing this into Australia. She's originally from the US. And facing that, but she has such a big heart, and saying, I want to bring in more fascia into my yoga teaching. And I remember she was saying, I wouldn't do this fascia stuff. And now she is one of she loves my membership and loves the practices and uses this in her classes. She still teaches. And so the yoga community, I thought, and it's us doing this othering. This is so interesting, isn't it? We look at them or look at the community we're in, and we realize I want to do it differently. And there is a fear, and that is maybe also my astrology and my nature of not belonging, of being an outcast and being kicked out of a community. And the voice, though, sharing fascia and sharing something that I embodied and I truly thought is super, super important to teach and share, was stronger. And so I stepped out of this fear bubble and taught it and realized nobody puts me on a pile of wood and burns me.
It's yes. And more people are happy than they're upset about it.
Yeah. Absolutely. And there's another community out there who needs this more than maybe the traditionalist yoga practitioners who may still criticize me. And I'm still in the same situation now, being a body worker or a teacher and educator, and seeing these schools from which I learned so much and I deeply, deeply respect, and having my own lens. It's maybe also my creative nature to say, and I know other things than that, and they fit in this system so beautifully, and making it my own in my membership movement. So, yeah, I'm safe, but that you need a reminder in your mastermind. And I feel like I have this imprint now when this fear is coming up, I still can lean back into this 6 months experience, knowing that this is normal to feel that way. It's common, and there are ways to think differently and to get out of this thinking pattern of these spirals you get into, the journaling prompts you gave us. And I started doing them naturally in my head, so it becomes a self-talk to keep you moving. So, which is so helpful. I must say, I feel I've grown so much in those 6 months, and it's because it was so constant. The weekly either Voxer, and then we had the calls. So constantly being in conversation with you and being not afraid I was so not afraid to really share with you the shameful, in my head, in my perspective, shameful thoughts and fears, and being met with so much a big heart and listening ears and understanding, and the ability to help me to reframe this and to put it into perspective it's carrying me still. Like it's unbelievable how how this. Yeah, sorry, I'm
No, that
pitching
makes
now your mastermind, but
yeah,
I'm
no,
just saying,
thank
like,
you. That's so sweet
this
of
is
you to
part of
say.
my journey. This
Yeah.
is a big part of my journey,
But
for
just,
sure.
and you really threw yourself into the work, not just the messaging work, but also the money mindset work. And this is why, I
Yes.
always preach that it's so important to do those two pieces, because no matter who you are, no matter your background, we're always going to project our fears onto somebody that we're afraid of criticizing us, rejecting us for,
Yeah.
especially the people that I attract. And, we're going to talk a little bit about astrology, but you being an Aquarius rising, and my brand planet is in Aquarius, so I attract trailblazers, I attract creative rebels, people who are, I always use the analogy of, like, you're in with the machete bushwhacking a trail. You're not taking a trail that someone else has trodden before you. And so when we're reinventing things and we're bringing, new solutions from different areas of expertise, yeah, there's always going to be people. We always have those stories of someone who's told us no, or someone who said, that's not a good idea, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
That leads to some type of internal narrative that, like, maybe I'm not good enough, or I'm going to be rejected, or I'm going to have to deal with uncomfortable shit. Like, that's going to, propel me out from the tribe, which is just our lizard brain trying to keep us safe, right? Like tall poppy syndrome. Don't upset anyone, just stay in the status quo. And, to be an entrepreneur, to bring these new solutions that, we're really driven and passionate about, and to really trust that drive and that passion, that it's leading not only us, but our community somewhere really important and new, we have to deal with that voice and those, however they manifest for us, whoever we're projecting them on, whatever stories that feel so real, that make it feel unsafe for us to trust our creative genius and our brilliance. And I always think it's just so helpful to hear from other people that this is just a normal part of the experience. And yeah, like, we have to have tools to constantly deal with that when it comes to being visible for the things that are really unique to us, which brings me to astrology. Because obviously, it is such a helpful tool to remind us, like, what is unique about me? What are the strengths that I bring? What is my mission that I am here to create in this life and in my work and in my career, and to be known for and to be paid for? And I love hearing you talk about it, because obviously with your science background, I know you were really skeptical about it. And then you joined my Cosmic Copy Mastermind, which is all about astrology and like brand messaging. So tell me about that transition, about how, like, what was it like being skeptical to kind of like testing the waters, and then getting really into using astrology as a tool?
I think it started first with trusting you. So with building trust that you have built through social media, the messaging, the relatability, where I found myself listening to you, found myself, wow, this is me. And then I started and with that trust, I stepped into it, and I started dabbling, and I had no idea of astrology, or not much, and got your recommendations, got your reading, which was so eye-opening, and I kept on trusting. I obviously also went into a rabbit hole on thinking, okay, how research-based is that? But I'm also remembering fascia work, acupuncture, and all these, like, there are things that work and that we haven't yet researched or haven't had the tools to prove. And so there's like in me, obviously, also something that says, keep your mind open and go with that, and trust. And for me, the evidence was experiential. So it came with it's almost like the fascia work. It's like a lens for me. I use it now. I heard you talking about, okay, who am I in terms of constellation, and there was so much looking back. Yeah, of course, that's what I'm doing. Yes, yeah, that's me. And I obviously then looked at, what if I just bring a different date of birth into my calendar and reread this again with the same lens? Obviously, it doesn't work, because it is not me. And
I love that you tested
continuing,
it.
I test, of course. And what it really gave me, it's trusting that path and trusting my intuition in a way more, saying, this is what I'm meant to be doing. And that permission of saying I'm meant to be doing this already gave me almost like a float for the moments where the waters were really wobbly, or I didn't know where it's going to go, or shall I do it or not? And it gave me this float that continuously went forward. And that felt so incredibly helpful. And it worked. The evidence was there. I mean, in these 6 months, I had several launches of the membership. I launched a fascia clarity coaching, which filled up immediately. I made way more money than I have ever made before monthly in my business. And weaving back to the money part, I think not knowing your money mindset and the very accessible and natural and holistic way how you teach it, it lets your feet dangling when you do your work. I felt like this basis of the money work guided me through, and you always brought it back in during the mastermind, guided me through to have almost a map that I can refer to and say, this is where I'm at the moment, and this is where I want to go. And it was really helpful. So also for my nervous system, not feeling shame about numbers or numbers of members, numbers of financial numbers, and seeing them as an evidence point where you are at and where you can move on towards. And it was very successful. Like it worked. The astrology worked. The money mindset worked.
Yeah, thank you so
There's
much
the evidence
for articulating that, because I really do feel that is the most valuable thing about using astrology as a tool as an entrepreneur. Is it just, it's like we're talking about for our brand messaging, is that mirror. And it's a mirror that we can always plug into, that's always going to reflect back to us our intuitive nudges, the things that we're already feeling, that we already know about ourselves. But yeah, like the mindset stuff can creep in, the fear, the doubt, the questioning, the comparison, all of that noise that we do constantly get wrapped up in online when you're an entrepreneur. And so just that constant affirmation and reaffirmation, this is who I am. These are my gifts. These are my strengths. This is what I'm here to do. That really, that self-trust leads to follow through. That leads to results.
Yeah.
Where we might overcomplicate, where we might get lost trying to duplicate the way that somebody else does it, or, or listening to those other voices of like, maybe you shouldn't do it the way that you think you should do it, and really trusting our own intuition to guide us, which, especially when it comes to online branding, like then we trust our stories, then we stand out more to the right clients, then sales becomes easier, we can charge higher ticket, all of these things become a byproduct of that connection to yourself, of that deeply knowing yourself and constantly anchoring back into who am I, what am I here to do, and really bringing that unique message and mission out with confidence and with consistency. So thank you for sharing that and naming that. Okay. Obviously I could talk to you for a million hours, because I think you're amazing. And thank you so much for everything that you've shared. Obviously, as someone who has worked with me, for anyone who is considering it, like what would you say to them?
Also working with Sarah, trust your intuition. When you listen to Sarah's story, she has gone through a lot. Highly recommend also to read her book, where you learn about her story. And that alone gives you the permission to be totally yourself, working with a coach, a mentor. And I think that prevents you to going astray, moving onward in, trying to be someone else, or moving with the reflection that others project onto you, but rather going your own path. And you are held. You also get always a few good nudges, because Sarah has the strong ability to see you and really takes her time to reflect on you, on your path. There is a deep questionnaire at the beginning of your journey, for example, where the questions are so deep, where she begins to understand you, and you're not getting away with bullshit. With, Sarah knows you after a while, and she gently nudges you always back into the right direction, which I found super, super helpful. I can only recommend working with you. Just evidently, I am in a place where I could not be at without your help. And it doesn't feel like that someone pushed into somewhere, or that I feel like I have overdone things or something. It felt really, I'm in the right place now. And I almost feel like I'm sounding really cheesy because I'm a big believer in your work. And I'm so glad I took the time and energy and investment in working with you, because I feel at home in my business, in my journey. Also, sometimes it gets rocky, and that is part of the journey. But I always can lean back onto this 6 months experience of where I learned so much and became also more of myself. So yeah, that's all I can say.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And yeah, obviously you've been an absolute dream client to work with. And, just reflecting on your own journey and the reason why you are so successful and such a trailblazer, and have obviously succeeded at reinventing yourself and creating your own methodology and really, establishing yourself within industries, but in your own really unique way. It's because of your like true dedication and passion. And I think like that only comes when you really dedicate yourself to your true passion, and you don't settle. And even though it can feel really difficult to be that trailblazer, it's obvious that you've just like, you've always brought in the support that you need to really keep going and to build in the way that's going to work for you. And you really go all in at everything that you're doing. And you have so much commitment, so much passion and generosity. And yeah, like you're a true inspiration. And it's been such an honor to support you. And I'm always inspired by you and your work. And yeah, I definitely think there's also like the fact that you've built this diligence around your physical practice. I think that's just like such an incredible foundation for entrepreneurship, because I always bring the comparison between entrepreneurship and athleticism. And whether or not you are physically an athlete, because obviously I've been through a lot of health issues, and I know a lot of people who are attracted to me are because like I was in 5 years of chronic fatigue when I started my business. So I've definitely built my business in like a non-physically challenging way, in that, it's very adaptable to be able to prioritize my physical needs. But when it comes to like emotional well-being, spiritual dedication, like we are athletes as entrepreneurs, and really always having to choose to cultivate our vision and our mission, and to believe in where we're going, and to connect to our passion for service and for impacting and creating solutions through our business, because it's really relentless, as I imagine it is for a professional athlete. It's like, yeah, there's going to be days when you have pain, but like you have to adapt. But keeping that, like, your physical health at the center is yeah, I think whenever I'm trying to go reach higher in my business, the number one thing I address is my physical health and well-being. And I'm like, how can I build more strength? How can I build more vitality? How can I heal what I need to heal? So yeah, I think, like fascia and entrepreneurship is just like such an amazing part, like collaboration and interesting lenses. So I like look at one through the other. So yeah, I highly recommend going to check out Alexa's work, and her membership and her practices they're interesting and they're different to anything that you've ever done before, but they're very accessible and they're really, really powerful, and they work on a really deep level without, being super crazy and like overextending yourself. So can you tell everyone who's interested in learning more about you and your work, like where can they find you and what have you got going on at the moment?
Yes. First of all, I want to say all what I've built also within that time, and that I learned also and helped me a lot, is whilst being a part-time solo parent. And that's why I also appreciate your work so much. So I did all this and I continue doing this. There's more to come. And it's so amazing to do this calmly and safely, and feeling like I'm not chasing the carrot, whilst having time with my son, whilst really enjoying the time and not making him the fifth wheel on the wagon, but actually he's the center and the why of what I'm doing. And having this in both my passion for my work and my son, and obviously my partner, who's half of the way. It's such a gift. So yeah, just wanted to say this.
Yeah, thank you. Evidence
Yeah. So
that
where can
it
people?
can be done.
It can be done. Yeah. And it can be done slowly too. But it's thoroughly and it's with heart, and I'm not burned out, and I have time. I learned to hire people with you too, which is fantastic, and not feeling guilty of hiring and outsourcing things. Yeah, I think it's super important, and it doesn't have to be, you don't have to shoot for the star within your 1 year. You can do it slowly and prioritize what's also important in your life, and that feeds your business as well, as much as it does your physical health. And you can find me and Helix Movement, fascia-focused movement that helps you to embody yourself and also work on your posture. And for women, very important, pelvic floor health and calm strength. So nothing is really hectic. And nervous system balancing and revitalizing practices. You can find that at helixmovement.com. That is Helix, Helix, and movement, all in one word, .com. And there you find my membership. And soon the website will also change, where you find my coaching offer for practitioners. So there are yoga teachers, Pilates teachers, osteopaths, physios who work with me, who want to bring in more fascial work into their work. And they utilize this fascia clarity coaching intensive with me. And and I also have a monthly free class on YouTube. If you want to try it out, you find this under youtube.com/Helix Movement. And that's where you find me and can move with me and embody yourself and stay healthy and vital and ready for business.
And is your Instagram linked from your website?
Yes, and it's Alexa, so at Alexa Nehter, ALEXA NEHTER, and at Helix Movement.
Yeah, Alexa's very active on Instagram too, so definitely go connect with her over there. And thank you so much, Alexa, for coming and for sharing everything, all of your wisdom, all of your kind words about our work together. I deeply, deeply appreciate that. And thank you, everybody, for listening. If you know anyone who would be really into this episode, please share it with them. And thank you so much for watching and listening, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.